Good morning, everybody, and I want to welcome you back as we begin this new school year at Mayer Unified School District. As we start this school year together, I want us to think beyond our individual classrooms and individual responsibilities. Our students are part of a larger community, and our success is influenced by their success is influenced by their families, their peers, our school, and the community around us. After looking closely at our community, I've identified two major goals for this school year. Our first goal is to engage families to strengthen student learning both in and out of school. Our second goal is to promote inclusivity in learning, having a positive school culture, and meeting the needs of our school community. These goals are interconnected. When families feel welcomed and involved, their students are more likely to have support for learning. When students feel that they belong and that their needs are understood, then they're more likely to participate, grow, and succeed. This year, our goal is to move from simply knowing about our community to intentionally building relationships that help our students to flourish. So in front of you is a little infographic. I'll show it at the end, but everybody has that. And so I'm going to go over some highlights of this infographic because I think it's important that before we decide what we want to accomplish, we understand who we serve. So as you very well know, Mayer is a small rural pre-K through 12th grade school district that's located in Yavapai County. And we serve approximately 545 students over two schools. We have elementary school and a junior and senior high school. And we have approximately 38 full-time classroom teachers. So why am I telling this to you? I'm telling it to you because our size is important. Being a small school district can create some challenges, but in my mind, it's one of our greatest strengths because we have this opportunity to get to know our students and their families personally. We can recognize when something changes in a student's life, and we can communicate that directly with families and build those relationships with community organizations. Our community also has existing strengths that we can build upon, including with family development, our parent teacher organizations, our 21st Century After School Program, CTE, Mountain Institute CTED, and with local Yavapai College. So it's important to note that rather than starting from scratch, our job is to connect and strengthen the resources that we already have existing. This community snapshot has led me to three really important conclusions. The first is that our relationships are an asset. Because we're a small school district, we can make a tremendous a tremendous difference with the relationships that we form. We have opportunities to know students individually and develop meaningful relationships with families. And through that, it's important to realize that access matters. As a rural community, we know that we face unique challenges that are related to transportation, childcare, technology, maybe even access to food, healthcare, and other community services. But these challenges, even though they affect students, um, don't have to limit their academic potential because ultimately belonging matters. Research has shown that students' relationships with teachers, their peers, families, and their school community can have a significant impact on their sense of belonging and their overall development. And that is why our two goals focus on relationships, access, and inclusion. Next slide. There we go. All right. So it's really important that we also recognize our community values and how they're driving our character education. So the four character education values that most stood out to me were respect, responsibility, service, and reflection. And so as you're looking at that, it's important to note that it's essential that we model those character values in our day-to-day interactions with students. Um, these values also connect closely with our mission, including our academic development, our CTE awareness, our cultural appreciation for the traditions that make Mayor what it is, student physical well being and safety, their social development, and even community contributions. So, again, character education should not simply be a poster on a wall or just word of mouth. It needs to be part of our daily interactions every day. For example, if our focus is on respect, then we need to intentionally recognize students that demonstrate respect towards their classmates and other adults. If our focus is on service, then we need to create opportunities for students to contribute to the school and to the community at large. Ultimately, our goal is for students to see these virtues being modeled by adults around them and practiced throughout the school. Our first major goal is to engage families to strengthen student learning both inside and outside of school. And one strategy that we are going to use is our parent teacher organization. And I want it to be known that the goal is not to give parents more homework. Instead, we want to make sure that we're equipping families with practical information about what their students are learning, how their students are progressing, and maybe one or two realistic things that they can do at home to support their learning. Our second strategy is to have two-way communication. And that means more than simply sending home information to families. We need to demonstrate that we're willing to listen. Teachers can make positive contacts with families throughout the year, not just when there's a problem. Support staff can identify barriers that maybe are hindering or affecting a student's success. Families can bring something valuable and that they have background knowledge about their children and their strengths and weaknesses. But we need to treat that knowledge as an important part of the education process. Next slide, come on. There we go. All right. Family engagement also means helping students learn beyond the traditional classroom. We can create at-home learning routines that families can use realistically, like having students read to somebody at home or discussing a project that they're working on in school. We also have to realize that not every family has the same amount of time to devote to this or access to technology or transportation. And that's why our community partnerships are so important. We can look at our local library, um, our 21st Century program, the career and technical student organizations like FFA, FBLA, and Schools USA, Mountain Institute CTED, and Yavapai College that can provide career and college pathway opportunities. But ultimately, our responsibility is to help families understand these opportunities and make those connections easier for them to access. Next slide. Our second goal is to promote inclusivity in learning and in our school culture. So in order to do that, I want us to focus on two key strategies. The first is to apply rigorous and relevant instruction that demonstrates flexible student learning opportunities, because we all know that students don't learn the same way. We have to provide multiple ways for students to access the information, participate in the learning, and demonstrate what they know. That might look like providing visual models, maybe chunking our information, and definitely providing lots of opportunities for reteaching. I want to emphasize that that doesn't mean that we're lowering our expectations. What it does mean is that we're removing any unnecessary barriers that might be, so that every student has a fair opportunity to meet high expectations. Our second strategy is belonging and student voice. Students need to have opportunities to tell us about their experiences. We can do that through using our CTSOs, Student Council, National Honor Society, doing even just simple surveys and check-ins, and even having restorative conversations. But most importantly, if students are going to give us feedback, we have to demonstrate that we're going to actually listen and respond to it. Our goals also need to be connected to data. Data isn't something that we simply look at the end of the semester. It's something that we need to create and look at throughout the year to determine whether our strategies are working. Some of the information that we're going to be monitoring might include attendance, discipline, their academic progress and assessment scores, intervention strategies, program enrollment, family engagement, kind of etc. And it's important to note that simply collecting the data is not enough. We also need to ask ourselves some equity questions like who is benefiting from our programs? Are there particular populations of students that are maybe not participating and why? Who might be experiencing some barriers, whether those are geographic, linguistic, financial, technology, maybe even disability related? And this is especially important when we're making decisions about technology because it means more than simply having enough devices. We also need to think about things like who has reliable internet access, maybe the digital skills necessary to be successful in our increasingly digital age, and even whether families are going to understand how to use the technological systems that we're providing them. But again, our goal is to put resources where they're going to have the greatest impact on student learning and well being. One of the biggest takeaways from our community snapshot is that schools cannot meet every need by themselves. Our school is at the center of a larger network that includes yourselves, teachers, support staff, myself as an administrator, our school counselors, and then definitely our students and their families. We're also looking at our learning partners, so the various programs that we have that help to support our students, and even the organizations that help families meet their basic survival needs like food, healthcare, childcare, and transportation. Our expectation is not that teachers need to become experts in every single social service that's available in Yavapai County. Instead, we need to know who to contact and how to make what I would like to refer to as a warm referral. If we know a family that needs help, we need to be able to say, here is someone who can help you, rather than simply just giving them a list of numbers and sending them on their way. This is what it means to run and build a coordinated community network. We also need to have a strong communication plan. So, our first strategy for that is to have one message that has several different access points. So, maybe having a message like Mayor Flourishes to communicate our focus on learning, belonging, character education, and community building. And these same goals should be communicated at family events, staffing events such as this one, in our monthly newsletters that get sent out, all of our student activities, and to all of our community partnerships. Our second strategy is to listen, to act, and to report back through a continuous feedback cycle. We have to give families, students, and staff the opportunity to provide us with feedback. And we can't stop collecting that feedback. It's not a one and done. We need to show people what we did with that feedback and demonstrate that all stakeholder voices matter. We also want families and their community partners to become active participants in achieving our goals rather than simply being informed about them. Almost done. There we go. Ultimately, I want you to know that this work is about human flourishing. For our students, that means more than just earning good grades. It means students feel like they belong, they have meaningful relationships with adults, and opportunities to develop their strengths, make good decisions, contribute, serve others, and develop their character. For families, flourishing might mean feeling respected and welcomed at school events and knowing that the school really is a partner in their child's education. For staff, it means having shared expectations, coordinated supports, and having a positive professional culture here at school. And for our community partners, it might mean having a meaningful relationship with the school and having multiple opportunities to help students succeed. If we can create these conditions, then we're doing more than just improving school performance. We are helping young people to develop into capable, responsible, and contributing members of their community. There we go. So these are some of the sources that I use to gather information for all of the information that's in this PowerPoint. And so I'm showing you this to emphasize that these strategies are grounded in research. And the research that I reviewed really focuses on school belonging, inclusive education, family school engagement, and having strong family school community partnerships. And all of this boils down to something that we already know from experience, and that is that relationships matter. So, what's going to happen next? My goal is that in our sorry about that. In our first 30 days, I would like to focus on 5 main things. Number one, I want to establish our baseline data. I want to hand out this infographic and let families know that this is kind of our game plan for the year. Second, I want to learn how our families prefer to communicate, whether that's through monthly newsletters or Connect Ed messages home, in-person events here at school, etc. Third, we need to identify and organize our community partner contacts because they are valuable assets to this partnership that we're doing. And then fourth, I want to have at least one consistent student belonging routine built into every classroom every day so that students know that we really are trying to create a Mayor Wildcat family. And then lastly, we need to schedule our first family learning opportunity, and I would like to do that at our back to school open house next week. So, kind of in conclusion, I'd like each of us to leave here today thinking about one question, and that is, what is one thing that I can do to strengthen the connection between my students, their families, and our community? Our work this year is not about creating just one more program. It's about creating stronger connections. If we know our community, we know our students, then we can build stronger relationships and work together. And we can create a school environment where students, families, staff, and our community partnerships, all of those people have an opportunity to flourish. Thank you. And I really look forward to working with you all as we make this a successful successful school year. And I hope that we can all demonstrate a commitment to achieving these 2 goals. Thank you.